Okay, welcome everyone. In this presentation, we are going to look at the techniques that you can use to present data. It is very, very important that you present data in a way that is readable. Okay, that the data is actually easily understood by the person who is actually reading. So we use different figures or forms to present this data. We can use tables, we can use graphs, or we can actually use text, so words, to, uh, to, to present the data that we have. So we are going to look at each of these and see what do we have to take into consideration in choosing what type of data we have to, what type of data presentation method that we can use, choose from. So the first one is about using tables. Tables are very good for organizing data, and actually they enable us to portray data in their precise values. Okay, so the tables allow us to exactly put the values that we have obtained from either an experiment, from a survey, and enter them precisely into the table. Okay, so why use tables? Tables provide us with a unique way to organize data, summarize it, and and also display it in a way that is very easy for anyone to interpret or to read. So basically, tables allow us to provide clarity to complex information. So please make sure that your tables have a clear heading and the data is also arranged logically. If it is in ascending or if it is in descending, that logical order is very important, makes it very easy to read. And also, if there are key figures or values that are outstanding that you want the reader to pay attention to, you can highlight them or you can change the color a little bit, but don't overuse the colors in your tables. Okay, so keep the table simple and neat. Okay, so you can bold, you can apply some a little bit of colors, but keep it simple. The more simple it is, the more easy it is for the reader to understand. Okay, so keep it simple. Make sure that you have a clear heading. If you need a small bit of explanation, you can provide it immediately below the table. Be consistent. Make sure that the figures are entered in a consistent pattern. That is the font type, the size. This has to be consistent. And then also don't overuse the colors. Okay, so here is an example of a table. This one is what you can term as a compound table. It shows you the different courses and the number of students who have passed and those who have failed and those who are due for supplementary exams. So this is an example of a table, which you can call basically a compound table. So the other thing that you can use for displaying data or presenting data are the graphs. The graphs also enable you to communicate complex information with a lot of clarity, and the reader can easily spot the trends or the patterns within the graph. So we have different types of graphs. We have line graphs, which are often used to show trends, and then we have the bar graphs for the categorical data especially, and then we have the pie chart, where it shows the whole part, which is divided into smaller parts. We are going to look at each of these and see when do we actually have to apply them. So the line graph is very useful if you are monitoring the changes over time, okay, what we call trends. Okay, so for example, if you are monitoring the glucose level of a patient, okay, with the time, you can use what you call a line graph. So it means that you're going to display multiple data series on the same graph. Okay, so it is very common to use this line graph in different fields, in finance, in science, and also in economics. You can have multiple lines, okay, or multiple lines on the same graph, okay, as long as you provide a very neat key to them to show that this line represents this line represents that. That is very important for the reader to know that. So we move to the bar graph. Okay, the bar graph is actually used to show categorical data. Okay, for example, here this is a simple bar graph, what you can call a simple bar chart for age distribution for different students. So, for example, if you have a class of students and you're taking their age, they could be between the ages of 19 to 24, and those who have about 10 and about 19 years, they could be about let us say 18, and then those that have 20 years about 21, and then those that have 21 years about 138. Okay, so that is an example of a simple bar chart. You can have a multiple bar chart. Um, uh, for example, if you are looking at subcategories, okay? So, for example, if you have a group of students undertaking a particular course, and then for those students, maybe after doing an exam, you have those who will pass, you have those who will fail, and then you have those who may be due for supplementary. So you may decide to represent that type of data in a multiple bar chart, okay? Because it allows you to have the different sub categories together, and then in comparison with the other different courses the students are undertaking. Okay, so you can have a component bar chart also. With this, what you have is that the the same bar has those who passed, those who failed, and those who can do a supplementary on the same bar. So that one is what you call a component bar chart. And then instead of representing them in numbers, you can represent the different categories in terms of percentage. And when you do that, you have students who passed, those who failed, and those who are due for supplementary, uh, both represented in terms of percentages. So you get what you call a percentage bar chart. Now, you have seen the different types of graphs that we have. So, which one do you choose to represent your data set? It is very important for you to understand the type of data that you have. If you're looking at trends, then a line graph may work for you. If you have categorical data, then maybe bar graphs are important. Okay, so we are also going to look at the other different types of data presentation method that you can use. So the graph, the key things that you need to take note of that make sure that you choose the right type of graph to use, so that you make sure that you keep the graph simple. Don't just throw in information there. It confuses. Use colors to highlight some curves. If you have multiple curves on the same graph, that is also very important for you to help the reader understand the difference between the curves and providing uh, the key for each graph is actually very important. Highlight the information that you want the reader to note. That is also very key. The next one we are going to look at is what we call a pie chart. Okay, the pie chart is a circular graph used to display data. So in this case, you have the whole of the graph, which is usually represented by 360. And then for each portion or each slice is just a portion of the whole, which is the 360. And then you get percentages and ratios for each respective slide or slice. Okay. So when you use pie charts, you use pie charts if you want to demonstrate the extent to which a particular variable uh, takes in comparison to the whole. Okay, so for example, if for example you're looking at let us say employment status for your research respondents, you may choose to represent that in the form of a pie chart. So it will be able to tell us that this percentage did this is actually undertaking this particular kind of activity and things like that. Okay, so if you want to show how much a particular portion contributes to the whole, then you can basically use a pie chart. Okay. Okay, so how would you create the pie chart? You can create the pie chart by basically, for example, using Excel, or you can actually draw a pie chart using a Word document. You can do that on your computer. So using the computer software such as the Word document, or Excel. So a pie chart is very easy to interpret because it gives you the information that you actually want at glance. So it is very effective at communicating percentages and proportions. Sometimes they can be misleading, so the reader needs to pay good attention to what they are seeing. So that's an example of a pie chart. Okay, so now we move to what we call a scatter plot. Okay, the scatter plot. So the scatter plot is used to display a relationship between two variables. Okay, so remember variable is a characteristic that can be measured. So if you want to represent